Amanda came to class that morning with a backpack and a sleeping bag. Out of the backpack came a set of wings, butterfly wings that you attach with elastics. When it came to her moment to show the project that she had done, she combined her understanding as a second grader of science with her knowledge of dance. She gracefully entered that sleeping bag, staying for a moment, and then emerging from it in the most graceful and beautiful way with wings on her back. She was demonstrating to her classmates the way that a caterpillar moves to chrysalis and into a butterfly. I think in some ways I feel like Amanda this morning did, a little nervous about how she would be accepted by her classmates, and a little nervous about how, how transformation may happen in my own life. It's a joy to be back in California. My journey of ministerial formation began here in 2005, just through the tunnel or across the hills in Berkeley at Starr King School for the Ministry. This religious community was part of supporting my formation as a minister. You did that by supporting your minister, the Reverend David Sammons at the time, who was my faculty mentor and advisor during my time at Starr King. It's my strong conviction that all that we do as ministers is only possible by the congregations that support us in doing so. With that in mind, thank you. Thank you for the radically hospitable welcome, the startup weekend that I just experienced with my new colleague Indigo Lewis and Natalie Malter. It was a blessing to be with you, with the leadership of this congregation yesterday. If I was to engage in a little metaphoraging, I came to California first to go to seminary as a caterpillar, fluffy and friendly, and did spend some time in that chrysalis. Found some wind beneath my wings and set into a ministry that started with an internship in West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church in Cleveland, Ohio, and then to my first called ministry in Reno, where I had been for 9 years until leaving in June of this year to join you as your minister for engagement and justice. Learning that it started here in California, learning that ministry is about being a prophetic witness and engaging in the work of justice, that it means accompanying and witnessing people through change and transformation. It means having the honor, privilege, and blessing to be present to our whole lives, joys and sorrows, and everything in between. It means providing care for the soul, educating for wholeness and for liberation. It was indeed here in the Bay Area that I came to deeply understand that the work of ministry can only be done in community. It is the religious community that holds the minister, that holds the ministry, and it is ultimately the community that can incubate change and transformation. For me, the essence, the central theme, the foundation of my religion that I call Unitarian Universalism is our call to ever becoming, this call to transformation. But I did want you to hear Jane Jebka's reading this morning about her weariness and being leery about this call to transformation. I asked Natalie to share her words with you this morning so that we might together hold the tension, hold that tension of the conviction that our theology says you need not be transformed first, and you come as you are, and you will be blessed. And my call to this continual act of transformation and becoming. You see, for me, well, I suppose for the dictionary, transformation is a verb. It's an action. It is something that we do. So I invite you to notice that for me, the core sense of my religion is action. Let us not view religion as a noun, an object to be defined or enshrined as something. Let us see religion as that which we do, an action, a way of living, something that has movement and motion in our world. Canadian academic Ralph Heintzman, in his book Rediscovering Reverence, writes and suggests that religion is neither an escape from life nor an abstract framework of beliefs that is arbitrarily imposed upon it. It's a way of living, something that you do, and to a degree can't help doing. Something that emerges from humankind's deepest and most authentic experience of life itself. Religious practice is a human response to the profound mysteries that surround and inhabit human life. The mysteries of life and death, of suffering and evil. The meaning and, above all, existence itself. Religious life embraces and explores the mysteries of human life, drawing on them as from a deep well to illuminate and ennoble life and to provide the foundation for which we can do our best work. There's a sense of peacefulness and well-being to be gained. There's a sense of trust and hope that comes from being in religious community together, and yet it comes at a price. The spiritual journey is not an easy one. It's one that comes at a cost. As Heintzman writes, the price is in your own actions, the transformation of your own will, and the turning of your own heart. Religion points beyond what we might know into the mystery of what might be, a constant reminder that we are always becoming. I'm suggesting to you this morning that indeed religion is an action. And so what might that action look like? Well, part of it might be this practice of reverence. Reverence conveys a human attitude of respect and deference for something larger, something larger or higher in priority than our individual selves. Something that commands our admiration and our loyalty and may imply obligations or duties on our part. So you see, reverence is an acknowledgement of superior worth, our relation with it, and our potential obligations towards it. Reverence results from humility, as the Jewish text puts it. Respect and deference arises in us from, for example, amazing people or their amazing ideas. When we encounter someone who transcends our normal life, someone who personifies the qualities of excellence, incarnates beauty, or possesses the kind of power which captures our respect and admiration, we can surrender ourselves. This sense of respect and deference can motivate us to act as well, to devote ourselves to something greater than ourselves, to stand up for something, to take a stand against something, or even at times simply just to go on living. One of our acknowledged sources of our Unitarian Universalist faith are the words and deeds of prophetic people which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Calls us to search for those that transcend our normal life. I see this call to seek the words and deeds of everyday prophets as one origin of this practice of reverence. A reverence rooted in respect for something beyond our individual selves. Another source for that respect and deference arises in us, I think, from our experience of the natural world. From ever becoming conscious and aware that there is something greater and larger than ourselves, our Sources again say that earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature is part of the sources from which we understand ourselves as Unitarian Universalists. These acts of reverence acknowledge a higher good. One locale for practicing or engaging, another locale for practicing or engaging in acts of reverence is what we're doing together this morning, is our worship life together. Worship for me is that act of assigning or acknowledging worth, shaping what is of worth. Worship, worth shaping. Worship at its best allows us to explore and express our deepest understanding or sense of reverence by giving energy and focus to them. It can create or make available to us reverent feelings and states of mind, which in turn can empower us for transformational action in the world and in ourselves. The goal of living a religious life, of engaging the practice of reverence, should be to experience the holy, to experience the sacred. So quoting again from Heinzmann, the holy or the sacred are what reverence, in its deepest spiritual form, seeks to encounter. They are the names, holy and sacred. They are the names that we give to what we most want to be reverent about. They are reverence in its deepest form of expression. They are therefore recognizable by states of feeling with those overtones of awe or fear, mystery and joy and power. You see, non-religious spiritualities often miss the essence of spirituality, which is spiritual habits, exercises, disciplines, behaviors, and actions in the world. In fact, that's why people prefer the non-religious kinds of spirituality. They're easier. They make fewer real demands. They don't make you change your routines or your habits or yourself or your world. They don't require a turning of the heart, the inner transformation that Thomas Aquinas has referred to as faith. Religious life may be too hard, too demanding, mentally and otherwise. Maybe it's simply too inconvenient. And yet it is because it challenges you to change your routines, your habits, yourself, and the world. It is because it is hard, demanding, and inconvenient that religion should and will lead to transformation. Living a religious life is a full-time commitment. I can remember when I was attending seminary and during my internship, and when I began my ministry in Reno, I'd been told that, as a minister, you must have a spiritual practice. You must do something daily to ground yourself. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so busy, I just can't figure out what my daily spiritual practice is going to be. Well, I knew that I was supposed to be doing something. Bad minister, I thought to myself. Well, I've come to realize that spiritual practice or spiritual disciplines should be the essence of all that I do. It's not necessarily a time that I carve out in the day, rather than telling myself that this here is a spiritual moment and this here is a secular moment. I want to live a holy life which challenges me to practice reverence at every moment, to intentionally find that which captures my admiration and my loyalty, to ask myself what obligations or duties these loyalties demand of me, and to acknowledge superior worth of my relationship with it and my potential obligations toward it. This, I hope, can and will lead to transformation. All of our ministries should be leading to transformational, possibly personal, though we know how tough that can be, congregational, and the transformation of the worlds in which we live. In some way, our mission and our Vision 2020 call us to change, to grow, and to transform into the beloved community that we wish to be. It will be a challenge. Transformation will be a challenge to the sense of ourselves, our comfort, and in fact, the privileges that some of us take for granted. Whatever those comforts and privileges might be for you, Transformation may require you to examine them, confront them, and ask what it might mean to lose them. For me, that means a continual examination of my own male gender privilege, my middle class privilege, and yes, examining my white privilege. Transformation, when truly engaged, can be accompanied by anxiety, by suffering and loss. It can mean letting go of identities and understandings that at present give meaning to our lives. It may mean letting go of some spiritual safety nets, some identities or senses of who we are that give us meaning, purpose, and comfort, and pursuing transformative spiritual practices that will revolutionize our lives and redefine our place in the world. You see, it's the experience of love, companionship, and witness during these ongoing encounters with anxiety, suffering, and loss that make the religious community so precious to me. Yes, it is the religious community that allows me to answer the call to transformation, because we here can challenge each other, hold each other accountable, and most importantly, simply hold each other. Hold each other. Because our ministry is also one of comfort, of care, of joy, and of love. You know, though the road be muddy and rough, we will get there together. As Jane Jebka reminded us this morning in the reading, first and foremost, as Unitarian Universalists, we welcome each other as we are. We know that each one of us is good enough to walk into Unitarian Universalism as we are, and we are deeply committed to leading with acceptance and embrace. And still we are challenged to that transformation of ourselves and the world within the embrace of this loving religious community that already accepts us for who we are. So as we are this morning deeply concerned about the latest assaults on the worth and dignity of every person, from banning transgender people from serving honorably in our military, to threatening young people with deportation by ending their legal status, and the rise of hate groups with imagery and actions that hearken to times some of us imagined were long in the past. May we be up to this challenge, the challenge of living lives of reverence and transformation. May we live in and into the anxiety and fear, and still, through acts of reverence, live a religious life. That means each step we take is toward the mystery of who we are becoming, what the world is becoming. You know, I imagine, I don't know if this is true or not, I have no way of knowing, but I imagine that the caterpillar has no idea that they are about to become a butterfly. We must learn to live in the mystery of our own becoming, the mystery of our communities and our earth's becoming. May we transform into wholeness and into the larger life that is possible. May we allow for a true transformation of ourselves and our world as we know it, knowing always that the arc of the universe is long and it does bend towards justice and transformation. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.